Hello everybody. Today we are going to review the movie Free Guy. So I did just go see this in theaters tonight, and it was definitely Ryan Reynolds at his best, I would say for sure. Just give me a second here so I can pull up the cast list. So this movie actually surprised me because I wasn't really sure what to expect, and there was so much more that they hid in the movie than just the trailer, because I thought it was going to be like kind of a very quick story as to how he figured out that the world wasn't really real that he was living in. But oh my god, did they do a good job of not not even knowing, and them thinking that it was just a hacker in the very beginning trying to corrupt the game basically, and then when they find out it's an AI character, they try to shut it down. Well, anyway, the creator of the game does for sure. And his name was Antone or Antoine. Antoine, I think, is how you pronounce it correctly. I don't know why I thought that was. Anyway, so obviously we had Guy, who was the star of the movie and the game and everything else that went on here, played by Ryan Reynolds, and he was just able to be him. Maybe not quite as bad as Deadpool, but you could tell they definitely wanted him to have free reign on some of his jokes, because some of them were just way over the top, and I was like, oh my god, these would be perfect jokes for the Deadpool movie. And I actually remember seeing Ryan Reynolds way back in the day in the Blade 3, I believe it was the one that he was in. So, yeah, he's been doing comedy like this for years now. So I don't know. My camera's doing some sort of weird thing where it's like trying to pick up my face for some reason. So not really sure. Stop. Okay, there we go. That was weird. I had to put my hand. It's doing it again. Okay. Okay, now it's not. Anyway, where was I? Where did I start? Oh my god. I totally lost my train of thought there, because this is messing with me. Okay, sorry. Okay, so I was just talking about seeing Ryan Reynolds a long time ago, way back in the Blade series. But not the series, I guess, just Blade 3. But anyhow, yeah, I was just to reiterate on that point. He's been doing this kind of role for years, so I guess he's kind of been typecast as the funny guy. But this movie was very fitting for him, and he does such a good job of being diverse, even though he clearly still has the comedic side to him. He did a very good job of being the guy who didn't really know what was going on around him, and he just wanted to change. And of course, the world he's in feels real to him, right? Because he is a NPC, which means non-player character. So he's an artificial intelligence. He obviously has no control over what he does. He's just supposed to follow this same set of rules every day. And so he goes and gets a coffee with, what was it, two cream, two sugar, or something like that. And then the day he decides that he wants to make a change, because he sees this one girl in the game, and her name is Molotov Girl, is her character name, but her real name, as we know in the real world, is Millie. So yeah, when he sees her, because he keeps talking about this girl of his dreams every day, and then he sees her, and the AI in him switches, like it sets off this weird switch in him where he has to go after her. Because in the beginning of the movie, he talks about the people with the glasses are superheroes. But what we don't know in the very beginning of the movie is that the people with the glasses are actually the playable characters. So people who have made an account, signed up for the game, and then start playing it. So obviously they are going to have free reign over whatever they do. Seems almost daily they have a bank robbery at the bank. Guy and his friend work at, his name was Buddy. So then he he tries to go after Molotov Girl in the very beginning, but he gets hit by a train. So I guess when you die, you just kind of wake back up the next day in the very same spot. So that was kind of interesting. And so he wakes up again. He decides that he's going to change what he wants to do. So he goes to order a cappuccino instead of a regular coffee. And everybody starts looking at him, and the cop in the game goes, "Somebody's about to get shot," because obviously, if any of the non-player characters get out of line, I guess they're supposed to be reset or shut down. I'm not really sure what the design was there, but so I guess one of the creators of the game. So Millie in the real world is trying to win her lawsuit against the creator of this game called Free City, and although he really didn't design it, he just kind of left their Millie's and God, where is he? Key's design in the background, so that it was like a no-go zone. Like you couldn't actually go outside into the water. You had to stay within the confines of Free City. So he just used their code and kind of built around it to build his own game. So obviously that's they're trying to prove now that is what he did, so that they can take him down and get their old game back and build their own game from that. So he wants to be able to come out with this game, Free City 2, and then everything from Free City will be completely wiped out, and there'll be no more Free City, and no more Blue Shirt Guy, as Ryan Reynolds' character starts to become known as, because he's obviously changing the course of the game, right, by being a non-player character who can go out and do whoever he wants, because now he has these glasses on from one of the characters, one of the actual player characters. How did he get them originally? Oh, I guess he stopped one of the bank robberies. That was it. Because he says to the guy, "I'm going to need your glasses." And then he accidentally shoots him. That was it. He stops one of the bank robberies, was how he ended up getting the glasses. Because everybody's kind of wondering like what he's doing. So then he ends up shooting the player character. And it's funny because they're thinking like, how did he just do this? And then he starts to become the good guy once he continuously meets up with Molotov Girl in the game. Eventually, they get on a first name basis, because it's kind of funny that Millie actually starts to fall in love with him, even though he's not a real character or not a real person. Although she doesn't know that at the time, she thinks it's just somebody hacking the game who's untraceable, and they're obviously a real person out in the real world, so she wants to meet this real person, and then she finds out that no, that's not true. He's just an actual player or character in the game, and there is nobody in real life controlling him. He's controlling himself. And she does find out why. It's because Keyes actually based the character on himself, because Guy is supposed to be so smart, though, but his brain isn't set off, I guess, until he meets the girl of his dreams. And Keyes says in the video that he sends to Millie that he based the character off of the girl he sat beside every day, meaning her. So obviously right there I could tell, I was like, okay, he clearly has a thing for her, and she just hasn't picked up on it yet, because she's so focused on this lawsuit part of it, that she's just kind of ignoring the fact that Keyes actually likes her, and that's basically his message to her, saying, hey, I based it off of you. I am basically Guy. I'm waiting for you to realize that you're the girl I've been looking for my whole life, sort of thing. And then when Guy sees Molotov Girl in the game, his brain gets set off and he starts to follow his own pattern and just becomes smarter and smarter and smarter as an artificial intelligence. So now we have Antoine, who's trying to. Originally, he wanted to go more with the free guy, or with the guy idea, the blue shirt guy idea, because everybody was loving it, everybody was talking about it. But then eventually, everybody wants the game fixed due to the fact that all the AIs decide to basically take a holiday once Guy talks to them near the end of the movie about coming together and saving their game, because Antoine does reset the game at one point, completely reboots it. So Guy goes back to being just himself again, picking out the same clothing, going through the same routine every day, but he's already much smarter than the other AIs. So he's already a step above, and he still has his coding in him. Rebooting the game won't affect that. I guess Keith says you have to actually shut down the servers. So obviously Antoine does eventually go to that extent, but Keyes is able to actually build a bridge to their old code, to their original code that's been blocked by Antoine, and Guy is able to make it. Now, this was probably one of the funnier scenes, because while Antoine is destroying the servers, he throws in this character named Dude, who is just this big jacked up dude with Ryan Reynolds' head on him. Oh my god, I have the hiccups. So that was just really funny to see. And he has like a blue shirt tattoo on his chest, and so when this character named Dude goes in for the punch, and his catchphrase was literally catchphrase. That was how he was designed, but he wasn't complete, so he was really he had like half his brain in the game, so he was super stupid because he goes catchphrase every time he like goes to throw somebody, or obviously throw Guy, right? So it looks like Guy might not make it, but he has all this weaponry with him now that he can use through the glasses, so he actually blocks the death blow with Captain America's shield, and that's when Chris Evans pops up randomly and goes, "What the shit? Like, are you kidding me?" they're just taking stuff from a whole bunch of other movies, and he had the Hulk fist in the other hand, so he punches Dude back, and then he uses like the portal gun from Portal. He also uses a lightsaber against him. One of like the, what are they called? I guess axes from Fortnite to hit him. There was a whole bunch of stuff, and then he uses like the portal gun again to like portal himself from one side of the what was it, like a canopy type thing, to the other, and then obviously Dude follows him through, and it looks like he's about to crush him, but then he puts the glasses on Dude, and Dude just sees like all this other stuff, and he starts like going around trying to click it and stuff, because he's like not completely all there, right? So that was just absolutely hilarious. So Guy does make it to their old coding, which actually is able to save the game. So I guess they kind of make Free City themselves between Keys, Millie, and now his friend who finally came around. I guess Mouser was his name. Played by Utkarsh Ambudkar. I hope I'm getting that name right, oh my god. And Joe Keery played Keys. Channing Tatum was actually in the movie quite a bit, which I found surprising. He was just one of the avatars, and he was actually the opening avatar in the movie for when Ryan Reynolds is doing his little intro monologue about how the guys in glasses are the heroes, and you can see him driving through the car or the city with a pretty girl in the car and blowing up stuff, and I guess they have a lot of power, right? But he doesn't know why at this point, that's for sure. And I guess John Krasinski was a voice of a player too, which is kind of funny. And one thing I will touch on actually that I found really cool, because I think I've basically gone over the whole story, was the fact that there were actual like real life gamers from the gaming community. I think we had Jacksepticeye, Laserbeam, Pokemon or Pokimane. I'm not really sure the pronunciation of her actual gaming name. Ninja was in there, and there were a couple others that I don't really know that well. There were quite a few anyway. Some of them obviously popped up more than others. I think Ninja was probably in it the most, and Laserbeam, I believe, had the most to say. And obviously Jacksepticeye because he's huge, right? So I would say those are probably the three main ones that were in it, for the most part. There were some that I was kind of surprised didn't sign on to do this project because I thought maybe Courage might have been in there too. Surprised I didn't see him. Dr. Disrespect would have been perfect for this movie, to have a little cameo in it. That would have been awesome. Because his comedy would have worked, I think, meshed well with Ryan Reynolds' comedy. So I think it would have been really good. And it was funny seeing him go back after the reboot and be like completely just follow the path again until Millie kisses him again. She just decides to pull him in and kiss him, and that's when obviously his brain gets set off again and he goes, oh my god, I finally remember everything, and then decides to save the day, right? Because he doesn't want his world destroyed, because to him it feels real, even though it might not be real, and even though he says to her at the end, when she says, I have to tell you something, and he kind of says it in his own way for her. He says, you can't spend your entire time in this world because you created it. And it was actually Guy that says to her, he goes, it might just be my program talking, but remember, there's somebody who programmed me. And that's when she finally realizes that Keyes is basically Guy just as an AI. So that's when she decides to run for it, and his buddy goes, finally. Mouser says to her, finally you're realizing that Keyes is into you, because he asks her if she wants to go out for coffee, and she goes, no, I think I'm just going to jump back into the game. And then when she rewatches the video again, I guess she watched it farther this time, maybe, because she was actually focused more on the video itself than worrying about taking down Antoine, right? So obviously Antoine's completely failed at anything he's made now. His sales for Free City 2 absolutely bombed. They didn't even pull any numbers, I don't think, barely. So obviously he's in a bit of a pickle now. He ended up being the one who lost the money, and I guess it seems like Mouser, Keyes, and Millie are on the winning side now. The ending scene was a little weird, though, where they just kind of like stand across the street from one another and then run into the middle of it and kiss. I was like, oh, this is kind of long and drawn out, but I would say probably some of the scenes, I don't know, I would say the only downfall to this movie would be that they definitely beat the dead horse of trying to... It seemed like they just kept trying the same thing to destroy the game. They didn't come up with anything really like extra creative. It was like, reboot the game, like all the simple things that a normal person would do. I was kind of surprised that like Antoine didn't try to like make his own character in the very beginning to get into the game. I think that would have been interesting if Antoine ended up trying to battle Guy himself in the game. I guess maybe he kind of saw himself as Dude in a way, I suppose, because Dude was like this all-powerful being, or was supposed to be anyway, but didn't end up being that way for sure, because he wasn't fully developed, I guess, or programmed. So ended up being a failure for Antoine anyway, which is funny, even though it didn't look good. And obviously, Buddy and Guy were reunited at the end of the movie. So it looks like kind of a much cooler universe. They have like dinosaurs, centaurs, and I guess the design of Millie and Key's game was to just instead of violence and I guess playing a character, you were more like watching the characters grow. It was kind of a weird concept. Now I'm not really sure whether you could actually. So instead of playing as a video game character, you were just watching a video game character. So I suppose it's kind of same sort of entertainment because if the AIs continuously get smarter, it makes sense. Yeah, if they just kind of did the same thing over and over again, the game would get boring, right? But as long as you're constantly making them change and letting them have free will, I suppose that's a very interesting concept. So I'm going to have to give this movie a 9 out of 10, only because of the small downfalls I talked about. It just seemed like some of those scenes where they're trying to like come up with ways to destroy the game were a little bit drawn out and kind of got dry. The rest of the movie, though, was really, really good. So that's why I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. I would say that Ryan Reynolds and Jodie Comer had very good chemistry. They did a great job together. Lots of action in this movie. So if you're into action movies, definitely for sure go check that out. And comedy movies. It was an action comedy for sure. And I would highly recommend going to see this movie in theaters while it is out. I did go see it in 3D. Funny story though, when we went to see it with a buddy that I used to work with. I hadn't seen him in 2 years, literally. And I said, "Hey, do you want to go see this movie tonight?" And he was thinking about going to see it anyway, so we definitely both got some laughs out of the movie for sure. It was filled with jokes. Some of them I'm probably not even going to repeat because I don't want this video to get taken down from YouTube. So you'll have to go see the movie for yourself if you want those jokes. But yeah, so funny story about the 3D. When we first got into the theater, we put our 3D glasses on and the 3D wasn't working. It was like 50 dimensional, basically. So we went and got a second pair, put them on, still wasn't working. So I think somebody in our theater must have actually gone and said the 3D isn't working. So they shut off all the lights, restarted the movie from the beginning again, actually, which was kind of funny. I thought they would have just started it from where we left off. I would have been fine with that, but they restarted the movie over again, and then the lights in the theater stayed on. So I'm like, oh my god. Good old, yeah, the theater that I go to in Belleville, close to where I live, theater number 5 seems to always have some sort of issues, and I think the last movie I went to see in there was Midway, and the power went out 3 times, so I don't know. There's just something about Theater 5 in that theater that there's always something that messes up, which I just find funny. Every time you go in that theater, there's always something. But anyhow, definitely would recommend going to see this in 3D. I wouldn't say anything really pops out onto the screen, but the special effects and stuff definitely were much cooler in 3D. So I would recommend going to see this movie in 3D. And as always, like, share, subscribe, and comment down below your thoughts on this film if you've seen it. This video will be coming out in November. I don't know why I'm saying that at the end. I could have said that at the beginning. But it will be part of the Action Movie Month because I think it fits. And that's all. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye for now.